Okay, today we're talking about point slope form. Point slope form is used to write an equation in y equals mx plus b or standard form. Given, no surprise, a point and a slope. Some people are still writing, so I'll give you a minute. So before, let me kind of give you a little bit of background. You're not going to need to do this but I want to show you why we do what we're doing. If we had a graph and we had if I told you okay, if I wanted to find the equation of that line and find equation, I could do a couple things. I could, one, find M and B. I could do that and then write the equation. Or two, use a point, use an X comma Y and M, a slope. So this gives us a different way or method to write an equation of a line. And it really is, it's super easy. And I want to show you. Okay. So given an X comma Y and an M, we're going to use Y minus Y1. Okay, let's put little ones with these. So this is my point that I'm going to be using, X1 and Y1 is equal to M times X minus X1. So here's an example. 1 comma 3 is my point, and my M equals 4. Guys, is there anybody still writing? Okay, let me give you a minute because I want everybody to see this all at once. Okay, so when I use this formula, Y minus Y1 equals M times X minus X1. This is my X1 and my y1. So I'm going to have you plug in everything you see. Okay. This goes right there. This goes right there. And the M goes right there. So what we're filling in is y1, M, and x1. The y minus and the x minus stay put. They don't change. So it looks like this. Y minus my y1 is 3. There we go. Is equal to my M. This is substitution, guys. I'm not doing any math yet. This is substitution. 4 right here. And then x minus my x1 is 1. There you go. This is point slope form right there. Now we're going to simplify to put in y equals mx plus b. So this right here is point slope form. How do I get rid of parentheses over here?
You distribute.
Yeah, thank you. A couple people put it in the chat box. Okay, so we're going to distribute. So if I say y minus 3 equals 4 times x minus 1, and I distribute, I wrote it again so that in the notes you could have it differentiated. Okay, so y minus 3 is equal to 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 1 is minus 4. Now, when I have slope intercept form, I have y equals mx plus b. Y is all by itself, right? So I need to get y all by itself. How do I get y all by itself right there? How do we get rid of a minus 3?
Add 3 to both sides.
Good. Until people put it in, add 3. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So those cancel and I get y equals 4x minus 1. You're done. That's it. This is my slope intercept form. So you steps. A lot of you like steps. So let's do that. Step 1. Put m, x1, and y1 into point slope form. That's that one right there. Step 2, distribute. That's that one right there. And last, step 3, move the number by y to other side. Okay. If that were a y plus 3, then I would have minus the 3. That's the only reason I didn't say add the number by y. We just have to move it. So we're either going to add it or subtract it. We're going to add or subtract. And that's it. Let's try one. Sorry, my paper's got it. Okay. Let's do number 16. It says through the point -3, -1, and your slope equals 2. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna have you do is plug into point slope form. PT is point, okay? Point slope form. So y minus something equals something times x minus something. You're gonna plug in this number, that number, and that number. Okay, put done in the chat box when you've plugged it in. Put done in the chat box when you've plugged it in. So my y1 goes here, that's a -1. My m goes here, that's a 2. And my x1 goes here, that's a -3. But we remember from algebra that two negatives side by side are actually going to make a positive. So what this looks like is y plus 1 equals 2 times x plus 3. Okay. So now distribute, and tell me what you get. I'm actually asking you to simplify and put it in y equals mx plus b. Okay. Distribute and subtract your 1 and put it in y equals mx plus b. Distribute and put it in y equals mx plus b. Good. Emma's got it. Okay. So distribute. This is the process. We're going to write it like this. We're going to distribute. So y plus 1 equals 2x plus 6. Subtract 1 on both sides. Y equals 2x plus 5. You're done. That was it. Okay. And I know it took a lot longer to actually talk through it than it did to do it. The only catch is sometimes your slopes are fractions. So we're going to do 2 of those together. Okay, anybody still writing? Maybe you can take a picture.
Can I take a picture?
Yeah, go for it.
Like of the whole like page?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's do 2 more that have fractions. Let's do number 7. And same process. Same process. Your point is 3, 1, and your slope is what happens when your brain and hand don't work together. -2/3. Okay, so we're gonna fill in y minus, and I'm gonna write, this is the only other time I'm gonna write this. Okay, thank you, Marisol. I'll post the notes is equal to a number times x minus something. Those are the three that you're filling in. So this is my x1 and my y1. Okay. When you're done with that, put done in the chat box. And it takes a long time to type that in. And if you get the final answer, you can put it in the chat box. Okay. Thank you, Emma. Okay, so my y goes here. My m goes here. And my x goes there. That's point slope form. Now we're going to simplify. I'm going to distribute. Some of you get really freaked out by fractions, and I get it. We have y minus 1 is equal to negative 2/3 x. A minus times a minus makes a plus. Now come over here and do negative 2/3 times negative 3. What happens to my 3's?
They cancel out.
You cancel. So this goes in once, that goes in once. So a negative and a negative make a positive 2. So there you go. Thank you, Matthias. Yep. Okay, so I know it's a fraction, but if you will come over here and you will write those two side by side, it will be a lot easier. Okay. And then how do I get y by itself?
You have to bring the one over to the other side.
Good. So we're going to add 1 to both sides. And you're done. So y equals negative 2/3x plus 3. And we could actually graph that if we wanted to, but they didn't ask us to. Most of these are going to be like that, to where they'll just cancel. Okay. If you had something like negative 2/3 times 6, let's say your x was a 6, then this would go in once, that would go in twice, and you'd be left with negative 4. So you would have had a negative 4 over here. But all the ones that I would give you will be nice like that. I'm not going to give you any that won't be nice. Now, in Algebra 2, they'll expect you to be able to do some that are not nice numbers. Okay, but that's not my intent right now. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do number 11. Okay, so my point is negative 3 comma 1, and my m is negative 1/3. Okay, so I'm going to have you do the same thing that we just did up above. Start with the point slope form, simplify it to slope intercept form, and put your final answer in the chat box. Put your final answer in the chat box. Take your time. Follow the example. This was just an if, don't worry about it. Okay. So plugging in our numbers, y minus 1 equals negative 1/3, x minus a minus 3, but we know that two negatives side by side make a plus. Now we're going to distribute. Y minus 1 is equal to negative 1/3x. Okay, so come over here. We're going to go negative 1/3 times 3. The 3's cancel. I'm left with negative 1, minus 1. Step 3, add 1 to both sides, and you get y equals negative 1/3 x. And a minus 1 and a plus 1, they cancel. I know how several of you got +2. That's because you didn't have the minus with your 1. Okay. But that was really close. Does that feel more comfortable? That's how the process should be right there. Okay. So that's the new material for today. We're going to review 17 through 22. This is the geometry prisms and cylinder and cone. What I'd like to do is do these together. So if you're working on something else, pause, please, and let's do these together, because you're going to have a short quiz and it will have some of this on it. So 17, actually, I'm just going to use the worksheet so you can see the pictures better. Okay, so 17, the volume is length times width times height. Length times width times height. Okay, fill it in and put your answer in the chat box. If you're working on something else, please pause and work with us here.
Can I take a picture of the notes that we just did? Like I got the first page, but like the second
Sure,
page.
hang on one second. So for number 18, thank you, Emma. This is a formula, pi r squared h for volume. Leave it in terms of pi. So this is your bottom circle. And this is how tall it is. That was how tall it was. Okay. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, go ahead and multiply out the numbers together. Okay, a couple more. Good. Guys, if you were like a football team, you wouldn't be winning any games as a team. I need more people involved here. As your teacher and coach, I don't know how to help you if I don't see what you're doing. Thank you. There's a few more answers and you're correct. Okay, good. So my R equals 12. My H equals 10, and I plug it in. Pi 12 squared times 10. So 12 squared is 144 times 10. So you get 1440 pi miles cubed. Okay, for 19, volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. Because here's your circle. Identify your R. So in the chat box, tell me what is R? Just in the chat box. Tell me what's R. This is an opportunity to participate, people. Thank you. Awesome. Tell me what R is. Okay. These guys, R is not 22. Thank you for the 10 people that told me what R is. Thank you. Nice. This is participation opportunity. Okay. So you plug it in. D is equal to 1/3. I'm going to put my pi over here. 11 squared times 22. And you're going to multiply it all together. Okay. And I'm going to let you finish it. Over here, volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Actually, this is kind of the same idea because here's my R, or here's my across that they give me. And again, R equals 11, just like number 19. R equals 11 over here, R equals 11 over there. Didn't mean for it to be that way. And we're going to plug it in. On 19 and 20, they tell you you can use like a calculator and just round it to the nearest hundred. I don't mind if you leave it in a fraction. See, so guys, if you need to, you can look at it this way. You can do 11 times 11 times 22 divided by 3 equals 887.33. 887.33 pi, and you're done. Over here, 11 times 11 times 11 times 4 divided by 3 equals 1774.67. 1774.67 pi. It's a calculator problem. Okay. Let's look at this one. Volume is equal to, okay, your trapezoid times h. 1/2 the h of your trapezoid, B1 plus B2. What is the height of my trapezoid? Sometimes it helps to identify, here is the trapezoid itself. What's the height of the trapezoid, people? Come on. Thank you. Okay. So volume is equal to 1/2 6.1. My B1. So this is B1 and this is B2. Remember that this is the same distance over there. So we've got 4 plus 11. And the height of my trapezoid, the one that connects them together, is 12. All we have to do is put this in a calculator. So we've got 1/2 times 6.1 times 15 times 12. So when you put that in your calculator, you've got 6.1 times 15 times 12 divided by 2 equals 549, and you're done. And those meters cubed. On last one, volume equals length times width times height. Put your answer in the chat box. Yep. Doesn't matter how you slice it. Here's the 3 numbers that we're using. Put it however you like it. I think I've lost a few people. Come on. Thank you. A few more. So I've zoomed out so you can take a picture and make sure you have this handy when you go to take the quiz, which will probably be next Monday at this rate. Okay. So we're gonna work on this part of the assignment, given an M and a B, we're putting it into y equals mx plus b. Okay, so y equals m, which is -3/2. X goes next to that plus 0. But we don't write plus 0. We would just leave it as y equals 3/2x negative and be done. So what would the answer for number 2 be? If this is M and this is B. Write your answer in the chat box. Yeah, very much the same thing. Y equals 5/3x. You'd write plus 0. If it was anything other than a 0, like an 8, you'd write plus 8 and you'd be done. But yeah, we have y equals 5/3x. So on number 3, when we go to graph number 3, what's the number that I can write over here for my b? You can say it out loud or you can put it in the chat box. Thank you, Ernesto. Yep. Okay, so I have people putting in the chat box, we can add 0. And when we're gonna graph this, I need a number underneath the -3, and we can put a 1. So when I graph it, I start at B, and I go down 3. I go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1. And then I do it again. 1, 2, 3, and over 1. And there's my line. Number 4, do I start on the x-axis or the y-axis? Do I start on the x-axis or the y-axis? Good. So far, everybody in the chat box is correct. Nice. Thank you. Okay. Yep. I'm starting on the x-axis because it says x equals. I'm going to start on the x-axis. So I'm going to go to 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put a dot. Remember, this is a line. This is not a point. So since it's a line, we're going to draw a line through it. You're done. Okay. Let's do number 6. Same idea. I need a number back here. You can use 0. What's the number in front of x that I don't see? What's the number in front of x that I don't see? Good. Yeah. People are putting in the chat box. It's a 1. In this case, it's actually a -1. Yep. And we need 2 numbers to graph it. So we're going to put a -1/1. So if you're not printing out the worksheet, I would simply sketch a neat graph over here like so. And I would start at 0, then I go down 1/1, down 1/1. Okay. And you have to give me indicators. You can't just like draw a random line, because a couple of people tried to do that and I didn't give them the points for it. You've got to show me what you're doing. So I'd start at 0, go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And then I'd connect my dots. And you're done. Okay, questions on that? How many are feeling pretty comfortable with this? Put yes or no in the chat box. Yes or no in the chat box. Also helps me to know that you're awake. Okay. Good. Nice. Okay, so put in the chat box on number 5, where do I start? What's my B? And then my M. Where do I start? What's my B? Good. Nice. Okay. So yeah. Good. Nice. Okay. So B is -5, which makes your M 7 over 5. So when I start at -5, right here on the y-axis, everything starts on the y-axis unless it says X. Okay. I'm going to go up 7 and to the right 5. Up 7, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's my point. And then I would connect them. And you're done. So I'm going up 7 and to the right 5. And if it were negative, I would have went down. Okay. We did several of the 7 through 16, and that brings us to the end of our time. How many feel like today was a productive day?